Hello out there in the YouTubeverse, it is Max and I am back at you with one of our favorite pieces of content on this channel, and it is Paup-Up video. We are doing more Historic Pauper. I am going to be playing and commentating live through the games because we have Magic Arena now, so a little different than back when we were doing it in paper, and now that things are settling down, our big hope is that we can bring you some more paper content, so if you want to see that, be sure to comment and let us know. We'd love to see some more paper Pauper. We'd love to bring it to you. And for this historic event, I am going to be playing my cool brew. I call it Boros Value Town. It is very akin to the Boros Monarch, Boros Bully style decks of Real Pauper. It is a really cool little value engine we'll see in the deck tech. And Sam is on Blue-Black Ninjas, using some of her wild cards and taking some of her core collection. Really smart thing to do when you're playing and you're new or you have limited access, because the economy in Arena leaves something to be desired, even at common. So Sam has smartly gone, how can I take a core of my cards, shift them over, and play something a little bit different? Well, she was doing some Neon Dynasty Limited, and she really started liking the ninjas, in addition to Paper Pauper, where we've been playing a lot of fairies, and she wanted to try a version of that with Blue-Black Ninjas, so she built a deck using a sparse amount of wild cards to take the core of her Blue-White Flying deck we saw in the previous Paup-Up video and make that into a Blue-Black Ninjas deck. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, kind of how to navigate and build your Pauper decks on a budget, let us know. It's a video we'd be happy to bring to you. Sam can kind of show you and walk you through her collection and how it's grown and what she's elected to try to do with it over time. It'd be something really cool. If that's what you're interested in, comment below, because we don't know if that's something you want to see. We're not going to waste your time, are we? Not like what I'm doing right now. So let's get over to the deck tech. And here we are with the deck tech. I want to run through a little bit of what does this deck do. It looks like a pile of red and white cards. Well, you're right. And I kind of want to walk through what the cards are real quick, and I'll kind of give you my thought process on this. We have a Singleton Guiding Voice, 4 Thraben Inspector, 3 Experimental Synthesizer, 4 Frostbite, a single Strangle, 3 Voldaren Epicure, 2 Dawnbringer Cleric, 4 Core Skyfisher, 1 Ray of Revelation, 4 Spirited Companion, 1 Swift Response, 1 Abrade, 3 Thrill of Possibility, 2 Prophetic Prism, 4 Inspiring Overseer, and a single Ardent Elementalist. So our goal is to get down these creatures that all have entered the battlefield effects, right? Voldaren Epicure, Thraben Inspector, Spirited Companion, Inspiring Overseer, Ardent Elementalist. Basically every creature in the deck does something when it enters the battlefield, and the concept is we want to pick them up with Core Skyfisher, and we want to be able to put them back down. This also applies to Experimental Synthesizer, which is a fantastic little synergy. Hopefully we'll get to see during the games, but it is pretty cool because when it comes in, it'll do its effect, and when you pick it up with the Core Skyfisher, it leaves the battlefield, so it gets to do the thing again. So it's a really powerful little engine piece. Voldaren Epicure makes a blood token, helps us get through bad draws. Thrill of Possibility helps us do the same basic thing. It's probably the weakest card in the deck on the whole. I would like to maybe up the count of lessons and learn spells. Our learn spells are pretty limiting. The only thing we have that really learns is, like, that's pretty good is First Day of Class, in addition to the Guiding Voice. The Guiding Voice is cheaper, which is why it gets the nod, and more often than not, sometimes a 1/1 counter is pretty valuable. And I think in a matchup like this that we're about to have, it definitely helps exemplify that. And having access to a bunch of extra cards in a mid-range deck within the Historic Pauper format is a really, really powerful concept. Down to 1 Abrade because I don't feel like the artifact removal is all that relevant right now. I'm more worried about enchantments, so that's why I'm running also a Ray of Revelation in addition to 2 Dawnbringer Cleric, because I feel like the prevalence and the amount of green-white or green-blue hexproof is enough, and that deck is so good that I do need to be able to answer it. Where any of the artifact decks, I'm also able to answer pretty effectively with removal, the exception being the hexproof decks. Sometimes the big decks, which is why I have Swift Response. So I have a bunch of silver bullets. So you go, okay, well, that's great. So you have 1 ofs. And what do you do when you need more? Well, we have the Ardent Elementalist, of course, that picks up 1 of those cards, puts it back in our hand, and then we can pick that up with Core Skyfisher and put it back down to get a card again. So we can cast any of these singletons many, many times. And I know that seems ridiculous, like, oh, okay, nice viewpoint for Magical Christmas Land. But this deck takes a long time to close out a game sometimes, and often you're a little back-footed, so your position becomes not being the beatdown, but stopping the beatdown, and then taking over the game with all these value engines. So you actually do have more time in a lot of games than you may think once you stop the opponent's momentum. So that's what we're going to be trying to do in this matchup, is slow Sam down, stop the pendulum, try to stop her from getting card advantage as best we can, and then leverage all of our value engines to take over the game. So let's get over to the games and see how it goes. Alright, here we go with game number 1 up against the Blue-Black Ninjas deck. And hopefully we get a good start. We get to choose, so we're of course going to play first here. This is an acceptable hand, certainly. Not incredible. I think what we're going to do is probably end up playing this. So we have a couple options, right? I think we play this on 1, and then what'll happen is on 2 we can go ahead and do these things. And we'll see what we draw in the interim time. If something becomes a little better, then we'll go down that road. But for now, I think this is an acceptable arrangement of cards. Not the greatest against a deck that's like almost mono flyers, but we'll see what we can do. If we can pick up a little bit more interaction, fantastic. 2 to bottom. You'd love to see it. All right, 1 and 1. Could have went second tap land into just a single drop into this next turn guaranteed, which may have been a bit of a stronger play. I think both lines are reasonable here. We can now block and trade with a Ninja of the Deep Hours with this particular arrangement, though. So we get hit once, obviously, from the Ninjutsu, but it looks like it's just a Moon Circuit Hacker from Sam. And you can see her hand up at the top of the screen if you're so inclined. We want to give you perfect information. Right now I'm seeing my screen, and I have a monitor that's shut off next to me that's running the recording. Okay. I think this is fine here. All right, tap lands. There's the Fairy Seer once again. One and one there. Good to see no 2 to top. She moves through. I think this is kind of what we're prized into. The question is, do we want to combat? I think the answer is probably yeah. We don't want to leave ourselves open to take a hit from the hacker, so it's just going to swing Epic here. It's our most expendable resource at this point. Moment of Craving. Okay. I'm trying to preserve her life total. A bit of a misstep, thankfully, for us. So we have to play a much better card that she can't immediately answer, or so it seems. So we check the fairy, we check the hacker. Right now we're in good shape. You can see she's considering attacks here. Understandably so, moves through combat. Casts Fairy Miscreant. So our board is looking stable at the moment. The question becomes, what do we do on this turn? I think the answer is this, and pick up probably just Companion, even though we can't immediately recast it. We also, picking up 3-bit Inspector and recasting it means we can't get clues either. So I think we're going to do that. Do we wish to attack? I think the answer is probably yes. We trade with the whole board. So we have reasonable pressure here. What we're looking to try to do is just, again, keep this core Skyfisher blocking. We have both of the sky creatures checked. Now I will definitely be willing to trade an Overseer for a fairy in the air. Epicure obviously would be happy to block Moon Circuit Hacker. So we're in good shape. A piece of removal is a little precarious. It could put us in a bad spot. But I think if she had removal, I think we would have seen it by now on the Overseer. Okay, Moon Snare Specialist certainly counts as removal. One of the few ninjas that doesn't have to be dealing combat damage to have an effect. Okay, bounces the core Skyfisher. Not that big of a deal for us. We probably block the Fairy Seer, 'cause if she does have another Moon Circuit Hacker, I'd rather her put the Miscreant in her hand and then recast that to no real impact unless she sees a second one. Where the Seer would be able to come back down and scry for 2, so I definitely don't want that to happen. Okay, land is a very welcome draw. Can't really attack here. Let's pick up Epicure. Now we kind of want to block a lot on the ground, so I don't want to just recast a single creature when I can recast 2 creatures. Some credence there to potentially just using Core Skyfisher on a blood token, but we don't have another 1-drop, or else I would have considered maybe something like that to put the maximum amount of blockers on the battlefield. And we still have good blocks here. Not super duper worried. We have Moon Snare checked by Skyfisher. We have multiple little creatures to eat up hackers. So right now we just need to make sure we run her down adequately on resources. Another specialist is fine. That doesn't break up the board as badly as it did the last turn. So not sad to see that. Not particularly sad to see that. We still have great blocks here on this board. We'll let one of the hackers block us. If she has a Ninja of the Deep Hour, she can trade up here, but that's okay. Otherwise, she's just looting, and I don't mind that too terribly much. We just don't want her to get card ahead if possible. Card selection, not nearly as terrifying to me as card advantage in this situation, because that's what our deck's trying to do, is leverage card advantage. Okay. So we trade away quite a few, and she's going to decide on if she wants to loot, and she does. And she discards Kami of Restless Shadows. Fairy Miscreant coming down now. Alright. Happy to have land. Do we want to do this? I think the answer is probably yeah, leading off here isn't a bad place to be. Okay, I don't think we want that quite yet, which is kind of a shame, but I think we're going to do what I alluded to last turn, and we're going to pick up a blood token with this Core Skyfisher recast. As we just have 4 of them sitting there, and I don't foresee us using 4 of them anytime soon, so I'd rather just keep a stable board. We can blood token at the end of the turn, end of Sam's turn, and I probably will. Looks like she may have an effect here at the end of turn. Lash of Malice. Yeah, that's fine. Still not super worried here. If it's an attack all, likely a block on the hacker and the specialist and let the miscreant come in for 1 damage. She'd definitely be able to recast it based on the amount of mana she has. Ooh, that's bad. Yeah, we're in trouble now. Went from in a decent spot to in quite a bad position. We can't afford to have her pick up the specialist, so we do have to block here. It's not a damage consideration as much as we can't let her pick that bounce spell up. With us lacking in tempo on the board, this is a major issue. And like we saw there, she would have easily been able to pick up the specialist and recast, so that's a big problem. So we want to get our blood moving here, get the blood pumping, and try to find some answers. Okay, that helps more than it looks like it might on the surface. So let's start with synthesizer and see what that brings us here. Plains is fine. So you take out the hacker here. We'll put back down Spirited Companion, which gives us good double blocks here. That's a decent draw. We can still blood token if we want to, and likely we will, probably using that as the fodder for discard. We're just trying to make sure we can get to cards that matter in the matchup and try to weed through some of the chuff. This helps with that, so I don't think I'd be initially willing to discard that right away. So just Fairy Miscreant coming in the sky, which makes sense, Ninja or not. Just 1 damage here, love to see it. Virus Beetle, alright, so maybe we discard the card that I was going to blood with. I don't think we want to blood per se now. We have plenty of ability to use our mana. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Do we want to go here? I think we do. See what we get here. Okay, that helps, that helps. We don't have to recast this right now. I don't intend to. We just want to fill the board back up. I don't want to whiff on the synthesizer, so I'm not going to use it. We'll just hold. Okay, managed to build our board back up into something that looks stable. Blocks look pretty good here. And you can kind of see the resiliency of the deck over that course of plays. It's just able to find a lot of targets. Network Disruptor is certainly an annoying one. Probably tapping the core Skyfisher here. Not that big of a deal overall. It depends on what the texture of attacks look like, though. Yeah, I was afraid of that. I do think we want to double block the Specialist and get it out of here. I think getting rid of the Virus Beetle's a really good idea. Network Disruptor is a very good tempo card. We're going to use this, targeting that. We'll go 2 permanents to 2 permanents here. Start off with the synthesizer. Okay. No targets for Ray of Revelation here. Not a big deal. Do we want to reuse synthesizer and cash it in for a token here? It doesn't seem very good, so I'm just going to go ahead and synthesize again. I think we hit the only dud in our library when we hit the Ray of Revelation, so I think we're in good shape there. I think this is pretty good for us. Unfortunately, the Ray does get exiled. It's the only negative there. It doesn't go to the graveyard for us. No targets. So right now, again, the card I care about most is Network Disruptor of these two. So I do want to block that, because if she does pick up a card, I'd rather she pick up Fairy Miscreant and just recast it with no value. None of that. So now we've cleared the board, so we've kind of gotten the pendulum stopped. So we're in a pretty good space now. We have plenty of clues. We have plenty of card advantage. So we're in good shape. Let's start here. Pick up a synthesizer. And you can kind of see full display of how nasty Synthesizer is. Do I care about this right now? I don't think so. I think I just want to recast this. That's a tough one. I don't want to lose out on value here, and gaining the 2 life is not horrible. So I think I'm going to do it. And I'll probably just chill after that. Can definitely come in with these kind of guilt-free. No way she's blocking any of that, so you're just fine going to damage, and yeah, we'll just hold. Crack a clue on a turn, use an instant if we need to. Plenty of options here, fortunately. Hovering over all of our permanents always makes you feel scared. But with double Skyfisher, we have such redundancy here, it's going to be a very hard game for her to swing back from. Possible, certainly, because of the amount of card advantage. It takes 1 ninja hit to get in, right? We exile a creature we control. You got it. And we just exile a Thraben Inspector. It's our worst creature by a decent clip. And we'll use the Thraben's Clue. Thank you, Inspector. Draw a card here. We're going to start here. Use Thrill. Discard an Alpine Meadow. Draw 2 cards. Okay, this helps a little bit. Do we want to go here next? I think the answer is probably yes. See what the Synthesizer gets us. Gets us a good one. Wonderful. I think we're going to go ahead and crack in with everybody. No, I'm going to leave one core Skyfisher home, just to answer any tempo plays. Here I want to play a land first, then use this. That is pretty good, so it should come pretty close to locking this thing up. We'll grab Expanded Anatomy here, because I do think we're far enough ahead we can afford to put counters on things and close the door on this game, hopefully. Withering. And that's exactly why we kept Skyfisher home. Not that 1 damage would have done anything here, but play it as safe as you can. Expanded Anatomy. Target a Skyfisher. I think here we probably are good to make a Samurai. Did I already play a land? It looks like I did. So, we can just... No, let's get maximum pressure on the board. Virus Beetle. It's going to get our snow-covered plains. It's a blocker. Have we seen any Frostbite this game? I don't think we've seen a Frostbite or a Strangle this game. Thank you. Just getting a clean 6 damage in the air. Alright, so we take down game 1, and obviously there are no sideboards for game 2, so we're going to move right into that. We just want to give you all a more rounded experience so you can kind of see some differences in the games. And the reason we don't play with sideboards is because when it's hosted on Arena as a midweek Magic typically, there is no sideboards for it, so we haven't really gotten into sideboards. I know there are some communities that play this format, and shout out to them. That is awesome. We love the support of the format. We've been big fans since it came out. We love to see people supporting it. It's such a great format. And we want to just play it the way that you can replicate it at home when a midweek Magic crops up. So hopefully you are enjoying the content. Obviously, if you are, like and subscribe. Always, always, always appreciated. I think we have something to do on 1. We can leave up mana on 2. So I think we want to go ahead and use our... And that's the thing about tap lanes is it's learning when you need to play one. And I think the answer for us is likely going to be next turn, depending on the texture of what she does here. And I do believe that that is when we're going to drop a tap land here. I just want to go ahead and get things out of the way. And then play our tap land. No point in trying to bluff something else. Like, I could certainly put in a mana and try to bluff something. From here, it's just, I don't want to bluff. I don't want to play around. This deck is very tempo-oriented, and I want to make sure I can answer what Sam is doing the best way I can. This leaves me open to make a turn 3 play that counts. So, very happy to have it. Very surprised to see this. You all can see Sam's hand. I can't, so I'm not sure precisely what's going on here. Leads me to believe there's a lot of removal, but I'm going to play my spells as intended anyway. It's not like she doesn't have hasty creatures, at least that I'm aware of, so move through that end step without any stops, so that's not good news for Sam. This could be a quick game too. Okay, this is what you call bad draws. Let's use this. Is that right? I guess it's a place to start. What do we want, though? I think we just want this. Can't cast that right now, though. Could cast this. I guess that's what the direction we want to go, then. So we can maximize our spells here. And again, with this position from Sam, my goal has become to try to pressure her. Because when she does drop something, I want her to have to consider to block it and not use it as an advantage, a way to leverage getting ahead. A good example being this network disruptor. I'd prefer her to think, I need to block with this network disruptor because I'm so far behind. I don't want her to use it. Discards 2 cards and ninjas and rogues you can. Okay. Well, we got plenty of bad cards to discard, I assure you. Okay, I think we want to start here. See what we get. Roll the dice. Okay, well, that's the easiest frostbite I'm ever going to cast. And we'll get right into the damage step, taking more than half of her life total. And this should be a pretty easy W for us here over the next turn cycle. We'll see. Yep, we'll let her get a scry on. Okay, and we'll see if we can close this one out. And we can. Nice. Well, there you have it for games 1 and 2. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching with us. You had the games, you had the deck tech, you had the intro, and now you're through to the outro. Appreciate you sticking with us through it. If you liked it, please give a like, give a subscribe. If you want to see something a little different or something else, like I alluded to the paper pauper thing, if there's something you want to see that we do or you want us to do, happy to do it. We just would rather make content everybody wants to see. We like doing this, so we like to bring it to you as well. So for that match, I was able to kind of leverage an advantage. Game 2, quite a rocky start for poor Sam, but it happens, right? It happens to all of us. The goal is to assess, what did I do with the resources I had? How can I better do that next time? Can I learn when to go down? It's a hard choice to go down to 5 cards. And when do I do that? When do I not? When can I sustain it? How can I make it work? These are all level up questions we need to ask ourselves. And I think game 2, very easy. Game 1, I was able to kind of showcase what the deck does in that slowing of the pendulum and then taking over the game with the deck's ability to use card selection and card advantage to leverage a win. So I think it did a pretty good job of displaying that. Hope that you enjoyed this Paup-Up video. We do like bringing them to you. And again, please, any feedback is more than welcome. And thank you so much for taking the time. See you in the next one.